Okay, sorry, let me start that again. My name is Jen Tatum. I have Brenda Lastly here with me as well, one of my coworkers and fellow TOSAs. We are here for our second week of our Learning Coach workshop for test prep. Last week we talked about kind of what testing is and why we do it. And we can go ahead and rename you Kelly if you'd like. Maybe Brenda can take care of that once she's done letting some people in. So if you just want to put in the chat box what you would like your name to be, we can do that. So last week we talked about kind of the what and the why of testing. What is testing? What different kinds of testing do we do here at Compass? And why? Why do we do this testing? And so if you were here last week, that's what we talked about. This week we're actually going to be here, we'll just go ahead and get started. Let me go ahead and share my screen. And let me just pull up a couple more things that I can see. I do have the chat available for me to look at. So if you guys want to ask questions, I have that available. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome. This is the Learning Coach Academy week 2. Test taking strategies and some CAASPP practice test tutorial. That's what we'll be doing today. Again, we brought this up last week. We'll bring it up every time we speak to you guys. Our mission and our vision here at Compass. Our mission is to inspire and develop innovative, creative, self-directed learners one scholar at a time. And our vision is to create a collaborative virtual learning community, inspiring our scholars to appreciate the ways in which the arts and the sciences nurture a curiosity for our lifelong learning and prepare scholars to take responsibility for their own future success. We shared this slide as well. This is something that you'll have the presentation. So if you guys want to go bounce back onto this slide and maybe find out who your counselor is, we have a wonderful counseling program. Every scholar has a counselor assigned to them. So please use this email or use this slide and find out who your counselor is. And if you can get a hold of them, that would be great. Super, super helpful. So our agenda today, we're going to actually go over the weekly workshop topic schedule. I know a lot of people had some questions regarding, last week wasn't what I thought it was going to be. And we were hoping for something else. Well, we're going to go ahead and tell you every week will be a different topic on testing. We'll start to get into the real nitty gritty of it all as we move closer to testing. So the first thing we'll talk about is the weekly workshop topic schedule. We'll then review the weekly testing email. We're going to talk about preparing your scholar for testing. And then we'll have a step-by-step tutorial that will assist your scholar with the logon process to the practice test. So we'll actually be getting into the practice test today for the Smarter Balance Assessment coming in the spring of 2021. Let me go ahead and I'll just go ahead and rename you. Thanks, Ben. Okay, so our weekly workshop topics, as you can see here, the first week was February 8th. That was week 1. We basically kind of went over the what and the why of testing. So if you attended last week, you got a little bit of that. If you did not, we do have a recording and a presentation that we would love to share with you. If you could reach out to your ST, they have those links and they can get those to you. This week is week 2, and we will be talking about CAASPP practice site and the built-in student tools that it has. The week after that, we'll be addressing test anxiety and performance task part 1 and part 2. We understand that test anxiety is very real, especially in this year of 2020 and 2021. The next week, we'll be doing the CAASPP practice, which is the science portion of the test. We will also be, the next week after that, we will be doing math and ELA question practice and walkthrough. And then March 15th, week 6, we'll be preparing for technology and secure browsers and network system diagnostics. This is important because testing is remote this year. So this will be a really important one to attend to make sure that you understand all of the kind of the technology behind it all. And then the last week, March 22nd, we'll be going over how to start a test session, remote security, and scholars taking practice tests with their STs. So that is it for that. And then we'll go ahead and move on. So the weekly email reminder, Brenda, I'm going to go ahead and click on this. Is that correct? I can go ahead and pull this up for them.
Yes, that's perfect.
Okay. So you guys can see my screen, I hope. And this is just an example of our week 2 email. So you can go ahead and read through this. This is, you should have actually received this from your ST probably yesterday, just because Monday was a holiday. And by the time we got back in on Tuesday, so by Wednesday, you should have received this email. They come out the beginning of every week, and they have some really, really good resources on there. There may have been some links that didn't work for you. We have kind of narrowed that down to, it might be that you don't have a BrainPop account. I would highly suggest having one. If you don't, that's okay too. But there are a lot of really good resources on every single one of these emails from your STs. So please, please pay close attention to that email that comes in from your ST. Okay. All right. Let me back to my presentation. Here we go. Okay. You guys can still, Brenda, I'm good. You can still see my screen.
Perfect. Yep.
Okay, perfect. Sometimes I don't know when it pops back and forth. Okay, so I think Brenda's going to go ahead and hop in and share with you and go over some of these steps, and then she'll actually you know what, I'll go ahead and go over the steps, and then she's going to go ahead and take you through a live portion of actually doing this. So what we're going to have you do here in a minute or two, and especially if there are scholars in here, this would be great for you, is we're going to go ahead and go into the CAASPP website and look at some stuff, look at some practice tests. So step 1 is that you go to the CAASPP website and you find the tab titled Practice and Training Tests. So if you can see here with the arrow, we've got a really good big bright red arrow for you to see where to go. You're going to click on Practice and Training Tests.
Excuse
Yes.
me. I'm sorry for jumping in.
That's okay.
I actually just put, if all of you would like to click on the link that's in the chat box. Oops, you know what? I think I just sent it to one person on accident. Hang on one second. Let me fix that.
You may have sent it to the waiting room too. Sometimes I do that.
Yep. All right, let's try that again. Okay, now it went to everybody. So I just put the direct link to the practice and training test portal in the chat box. So if you want to, you can go ahead and take a second, click on that, and then you can kind of walk along as Jen is walking you through the presentation screenshots of the steps.
Perfect. I'll give you just a second to do that, and I'll actually go back one slide so you can kind of follow along if you'd like. Sorry, my dogs are barking. The trash comes today. All right, I'm going to go ahead and move forward. So step 1, again, go to the CAASPP website, which Brenda has so nicely put in the chat box for you. Find that tab titled Practice and Training Tests and click on that tab. And then step 2, if you click on the Student Interface Practice and Training Test tab right here on the bottom right with this big bright arrow it's got for you here. And then moving on to step 3, the page is set to guest as a default. Go ahead and click the sign in button to go to the next page. So everything is already set in there as guest. You don't need to put anything in there. Step 4, go ahead and choose the grade level of your student from the drop-down menu and then click yes. Now, I know that some of you, as I was looking at RSVPs, I saw there are a lot of you, and we are so thankful, that have so many scholars in our program, aging from TK all the way to 12. Some families have 2, some families have 5. So if you have multiple grade levels, just choose one for the time being, just so you can get an idea of what that looks like. So if you're wondering what grade, just pick one that one of your kiddos is in. And then go ahead and click yes. And then step 5, you're going to be choosing which practice test you would like your child to practice. So there are 4 practice tests, 2 for the English language arts and 2 for mathematics. The English language arts and the math are divided into a practice test, which consists of different ways of answering questions. So there are multiple choice, drop-down menu, etc. And the performance task as well, which is a designed writing assignment. Okay, so there's going to be 2 different portions. There is the multiple choice option, stuff like that, and then there's the actual writing assignment. So make sure that you know that there are 2, which is the performance task will have longer writing requirements. Each test has 99 opportunities to take, but logging in as a guest is unlimited. So that's great news there. I hope that you don't have your scholar take it 99 times, but the idea is that they can practice really as much as they want up until the day that they take it. So Brenda's going to go ahead and jump in. She's going to actually look at the site with you and see if you have any problems or any questions or concerns. Brenda, you're on.
Okay, so let me go ahead and, am I a co-host or am I a host?
Do you want me to, I will stop sharing and then I will,
Okay,
you are host, so you should be good to go to share. If you want to just click the link and get on there first and then share, whatever you want to do.
Well, yeah, I'm already in there. It's just popping up that that box is saying who can share, and I put only host, but then it won't give me the option to actually start my screen share. Oh, there we go. Okay, it came up.
Okay, good.
Yay. All right. Hopefully you can see my screen. Would you just let me know in the chat box if you can see my screen okay?
Yep, you're all good. I can see it.
Okay, awesome. All right, so you're gonna come with that link. You'll come, and I apologize. I know I look like I'm looking away. I'm actually looking at a second screen. So you're going to come to this page. You'll be clicking on the one that says Student Interface Practice and Training Tests. So you're going to open this up, and what'll get confusing is you'll see a sign in, and that'll seem daunting. It's not a big deal. It just looks like a big deal. So you literally just click on that. You don't have to do anything with that page. You'll select your scholar's grade level. So for example, 6th grade. And exactly like those screenshots, you'll click on, for example, say you wanted to do the ELA practice test. You could just click on that. And it's going to take you through some questions. Check all those settings. If you want to change anything, you can. General testing resources. These are all the accessibility types of things. So if your scholar happens to have an IEP or a 504 and you know of specific settings that your scholar might have on the actual exam, you're welcome to set those because it's a practice exam. It's not scored. So these are all things you can play with. So all of these little tools are things that you can set: visual assistance, auditory assistance, any kind of assistive technology. So all of this is stuff you can play with. So once you've got all of that set, or if you just want to leave it as is, you click select. It's going to have you go through an audio video check. And if you're like me and you're impatient, you're going to be bugged because it makes you listen to the entire thing. So as soon as I heard the bell, I wanted to click it and it wouldn't let me. Okay, I have one of my families in the test session right now, and she's probably laughing because she knows me. Okay, so you look at this. After you do your audio setting check, it'll bring you to this. You can check your test settings if you like. You can read the help guide if you like. Don't have to. Just takes you to this page, and then you click begin test now. Here's the cool thing. It's practice. So you can literally go in here and you could have your scholar do 3 questions and then be done for the day. And you could go in and practice again with a few questions another day. and be done for the day. This is truly just to get your scholar comfortable with the verbiage, with the style of questions that are asked. Things like, and we're going to go more into this as we progress in our test prep sessions, but things like, for example, when they're reading, how to eliminate, extra information. So how do they figure out what information they should be focusing on? So one of those strategies would be reading the question before they read the text, right? Reading through the question and reading through the options and then reading the text so they know what they're looking for. Those kind of things will be things that you'd be able to practice with them, and you can just do a few questions at a time. So once you answered whatever was on this page, you would just click next. If you want to save their progress so that when you come back or you want to pause, all of those buttons are up at the top and you're able to do that. So it's just a neat way to get your scholar comfortable with what the actual test is going to look like. And these are not test questions from the test, obviously, but these are directly mirroring what they're going to experience on the test, which I love. So if you wanted them to do the writing, oops, let's see if I can get back there without, I might not be able to. You wanted them to be able to do the writing portion, which is what's called the performance task, which can be really daunting as well. And I'm just picking, so you'll see here it says ELA performance task, math performance task. Oh, by the way, the training tests down here, those are geared towards teachers, so you can just ignore that, just as an FYI. So the performance tasks, we'll click on that. Again, same thing, you can set all of the little tools for accessibility. You have to do your audio check. Begin test now. What I'm hoping, I can't see what you guys are doing on the other end, but I'm hoping you're actually like clicking around in here and getting familiar, because this is something, and literally instead of it being a really big deal, if you blocked out 15 minutes, 3 days a week, or 10 minutes each school day, even 5 minutes, it's more the consistency and the exposure, getting your scholar familiar with the testing platform and how the questions are asked and what some of the strategies are and implementing those strategies, then it is the volume that you do in one sitting. So we really want to stress that. This is just about getting familiar, and testing isn't until April. So you've got, 2.5 months almost to be able, well, 2 months to be able to do that. So this shows you what the performance task is going to look like. It gives you the text. Again, it shows you the questions it's going to ask you. So a good strategy would be to review those questions, review what they're going to be looking for on this page before having your scholar actually read the text. And that right away gives your scholar a little bit of a clue as to what they should be kind of focusing in on. So there's a typing area. There's places where you're going to check boxes. So anyway, so just getting in here and really experiencing what this looks like, trying it out. Doesn't matter if you try it because the score is not recorded anywhere, and you can just get used to things. I think, Jen, do you have anything else, or do you think I should add anything? Think we're good?
No, I think that's good. I think it's good to be able to see and kind of play around. I would love to just reiterate what Brenda said, is that we hope, even if you don't do it in today's, if you're just a visual learner and want to watch it and then go in later on and do it, that's great. Please pull your scholar alongside with you and have them dabble around in there. And it doesn't hurt. You save, you can move on. You could do 5 minutes, you could do 10 minutes. I know these kiddos are have a lot of work to do anyways, starting the new semester, but like she said, you've got almost 2 months to really kind of play with this a little bit. So we're hoping that part was helpful. I do want to go back to our presentation. Just a couple more slides, and then we'll share with you our survey again. It'll look very similar to the one you guys had last week with a little bit of a different, let's see if I can get back to where we were. Okay, so if you guys could, Brenda, if you could put the link to the survey into the chat box for them, that would be great. If you guys could just click on that survey, please take your time on that. Give us some of that. I think on this one, we actually ask who your ST is. So if you don't know, we could try to help you out with that. But please include all that information. And really, if you have any concern questions, please go to your ST for those. But if you, on the attendance survey, and Brenda, if you could pop on and let me know what that last question says again, I can't remember. We had that on there. It's not necessarily any questions that you have later on, but maybe questions or concerns about this presentation. If you guys want to include those or any further questions you have, you can put those on the survey. We do look at those. We went over those last week, and we had a lot of elementary questions, a lot of parents in elementary concerned about things. In the junior high and high school age, we didn't have a whole lot of questions or concerns, but if we did try to address those and respond to you as quickly as we can. So we want to make sure that you guys are comfortable, because if you're comfortable and positive, that vibe is going to rub off on your kiddos. And that's kind of what we're looking for, is that real positive, confident attitude, so that our kiddos have it too. So if you can't, did you put it in the chat box? I don't have it up. I should bring it up.
I did. Yeah. And just that last question is actually just asking if there's something we didn't cover that you'd like to see covered. And just with that in mind, take a look, if you get a chance, again, at our agenda for the sessions, because they're all building on each other. So maybe just before you put something in there, take a look at that agenda, because there's a good chance we're on our way to covering it. We were just trying to kind of layer the information slowly.
Did you send it to the waiting room again?
Oh, I don't know. Let's see. Oh my goodness. Okay.
No, it's okay.
This is a fail.
I do it too sometimes, but I sometimes will send a message to a scholar and then I'm like, that was for the whole class. So there's the form for the attendance survey if you guys want to go ahead and complete that. We do have a slide here included on the presentation that you guys have. You have the link. I don't know, Brenda, if you want to pop that presentation in there one more time, just to have it available. There is a slide of resources. There are some parent resources. It's, we want you to please note that the technology checker section for scholars to check that their devices are ready for testing. Make sure you look at that area. You don't want to get to testing day and have, technology issues. I mean, there probably will be, because that's what happens with technology, but, and then also the CAASPP Starting Smarter, that's for both parents and scholars. There are the practice and training tests. You've got a link right there. And then Typetastic, which is pretty cool. It's a free subscription for typing practice. Ask your ST about that. I know I have 3 children of my own. I have a junior higher and 2 elementary kiddos. And, they do the one finger typing, which is not all bad. My 39-year-old husband still is doing his PhD and he's still one finger typing. But we would love for them to really start to get used to, especially in an online learning environment and by doing testing remotely, just so they're comfortable with typing. So Typetastic is fantastic. And then again, if you have questions, please push those through to your STs, or if you have any further concerns or questions about the presentation, please put those on the attendance survey. I believe that is it for us today. Any last words, Brenda, before we close up?
I don't think so. I just take a second, put any questions you might have in the chat box, and feel free to reach out to us, but also definitely your STs, because they're your main line of communication and who you'll be testing with. So really important to have that communication going on, and we're open to them at all times, helping them get, work through testing and know what is going to be happening. So we're excited that testing is remote and that it's going to make it so much easier on families. And we can't wait to help you guys kind of be prepared.
Yeah, absolutely. Like she said, if you can, if you have questions right now that are burning, please put them in the chat box, and we'll do our best to answer them if they're quick and easy, or we'll jot them down and we'll get back to you. But thank you guys for being here. We appreciate you. We appreciate what you're doing here, because this is the step to helping your kiddos to be successful with testing. And as a parent myself, it's hard to balance. So the fact that you're here setting this time aside makes me really happy. So we appreciate you as parents and learning coaches.